With over 1 million years of life's history on this planet, Earth has certainly seen plenty of deadliest, dangerous, and life-ending animals. While some of them are terrorized the water bodies as well, others killed openly on the land, and there have been some who rule the skies. Now, there's no doubt that every prey on the planet is its own predator. That's deadliest. But the question here is that what is the most deadliest, the most dangerous, and the most fearsome of all? Now, you might think that it's a lion, the apex predator that's often called the king of the jungle, or maybe the great white shark, the deadliest animal in the oceans, or white polar bears who have the ability to tear apart their prey just by using their paws. But surprisingly, it's none of these. What if I tell you that the most dangerous animal on the earth is a tiny insect that at times is no greater than a person's eyelash in size? An insect that's present in almost all of our homes, and we probably deal with it on a daily basis. Well, for those of you who haven't guessed it yet, I'm talking about mosquitoes. Surprised? Well, so was I. But wait till you reach the end of the video to understand what makes an animal so small and unnoticeable, and also the most dangerous animal on the planet. The biology of mosquitoes. To understand what makes mosquitoes such an effective killing machine, it's important to understand that you need to see the biology of this creature. Now, mosquitoes are basically small flying insects that belong to the family Calicidae and are found almost everywhere on Earth except in extreme polar regions. Up until now, more than 35,000 species of this animal have been identified, where many of them are responsible for hundreds of deaths every year. Mosquitoes generally have a slender body with long legs and a couple of scaled wings. Their mouth part looks like a straw, which they use to pierce the skin of their host and feed on blood. This process allows them to extract nutrients necessary for egg production. Unlike most of the other animal species, in mosquitoes, it's the female mosquitoes that are, well, the primary culprits, as they require blood to nourish their eggs. But the question here now is that an animal that feeds on mere drops of blood can result in someone's death? The answer is disease transmission. Now, obviously, mosquitoes don't directly kill their prey like lions, sharks, or snakes, but it's actually the disease that they carry which is responsible for deaths. Female mosquitoes are the primary disease carriers because they require blood to develop their eggs. During feeding, they inject saliva that contains anticoagulants to prevent clotting, facilitating blood extraction. This saliva can also carry pathogens such as viruses and parasites directly into the host's bloodstream. These viruses and parasites in turn cause deadly diseases, which in turn cause the victim's death. The deadliest species. As I have mentioned, mosquitoes have more than 35,000 identified species, but not all of them cause the same type of damage. Over the years, there are some species that have been way more dangerous than the others. Then there are some who were only dangerous for a particular period in history, while there are some who are still considered dangerous today. Take Anopheles mosquito, for example. This particular species acts as a carrier of the Plasmodium parasite, which causes malaria. Anopheles mosquito by far is the deadliest mosquito, as malaria is responsible for billions of deaths over the Earth's history. The ancient Greeks recognized malaria as a cause of sickness in marshy areas. The pervasive impact of this mosquito in malaria has been documented as far back as 400 BC. Another deadly type of mosquito is Aedes mosquitoes, which are responsible for causing yellow fever. Now, that was a disease that was predominant in the 16th to 18th century in Africa and America. Just like Anopheles, this particular species too is responsible for millions of deaths over the years. In addition to yellow fever, Aedes is also responsible for dengue, a painful disease that has become quite common over the last decade or so, and according to the World Health Organization estimate, it results in about 390 million infections each year, leading to thousands of deaths, particularly among children. Similarly, Culex pipiens is another deadly mosquito species that's mainly found in tropical regions and is responsible for the transmission of West Nile virus, an infection that causes thousands of deaths every single year. Now, over the history of mankind, there have been some periods where these species have caused so many mass deaths that they caused an overall decrease in the world's population, proving that they indeed are the world's deadliest killers. History of killing. Now, the mosquito's introduction to humankind as a deadly animal isn't something new. The animal has been around for thousands of years and has been linked to numerous pandemics and health crises throughout human history. In fact, some of the most devastating and deadliest years of human history have been caused because of this small animal. The history of mosquito-caused deaths goes way beyond any recorded events when humans don't even know that it was mosquitoes that were killing them. The oldest known mosquito-related disease is malaria, whose evidence goes back to ancient Egypt, around 1500 BCE, with references in medical texts. Even in the ancient Greek Empire, evidence shows that people were aware of malaria and the disease caused hundreds of thousands of people to die during that time. In fact, according to one estimate, which was published in 2002 with the Nature article, malaria is believed to have killed 50 to 60 billion people throughout history, or about half of all humans that have ever lived. For context, the world population today is just above 8 billion. If we move a bit in the future to the Middle Ages, the Earth was plagued by something we called Black Death, a deadly disease caused by a bacteria that resided in stagnant water sources. According to various estimates and studies, in the span of just 1 to 2 decades, this disease resulted in about 75 to 100 million deaths, thus killing about 50% of the European population at that time. But you know what's even more terrifying and interesting? The factor that caused the deaths to reach this number was none other than mosquitoes. As the insect too breeds in stagnant water, it became responsible for the transmission of this bacterium, thus taking the death toll even higher. 3 to 4 centuries later, in 1700s to 1800s, with the outbreak of yellow fever in South and North America, mosquitoes again caused a significant number of deaths. In the year 1878 alone, a major outbreak of the disease in the US resulted in approximately 13,000 deaths. But that was just the tip of this horrific iceberg. In the same century, malaria again became responsible for millions of deaths worldwide. In the southern states of the United States of America, an estimated 1 million people died from malaria during this period. In the 20th century, the medicinal developments in the world, and especially in the West, greatly improved the overall mortality rate that the World War II started. This was the time when the world's focus shifted from medicinal development to warfare, and millions of humans from Europe, America, Japan, and Russia started participating in the war. However, according to an estimate, more humans were killed in the war by diseases like malaria than tanks or guns. In the Pacific alone, more than 1 million malaria cases were reported among Allied troops, which gives you an idea about the damage done. Fast forward to the 21st century, in addition to malaria, another mosquito-related disease called dengue fever has become a major health issue. With cases rising dramatically, the World Health Organization reported a 30-fold increase in global incidence over the last 50 years, with approximately 390 million infections annually by 2020. But this wasn't all. According to a WHO estimate, malaria resulted in more than 409,000 deaths in 2019 alone, with children under 5 being 274,000 of those fatalities. Similarly, in 2015 to 2016, Zika virus, which was linked to severe birth defects, affects millions of people in the Americas. This too was caused by mosquitoes. Chikungunya, first identified in 1952, is another mosquito-related disease whose 2013 Caribbean outbreaks resulted in over 1 million suspected cases. With this much development in the field of medicine, it seems that nothing is good enough to completely eradicate the deaths caused by mosquitoes. So are they really the deadliest animals on the planet? Or is there any other organism that comes close? Comparison with other dangerous predators. If for a moment you forget about the mosquitoes and just put them to the side, what are some other organisms that cause the most deaths on this planet every single year? And more importantly, do they cause enough deaths to be called as the most dangerous animals on the planet? Well, it shouldn't be a surprise, but Homo sapiens are certainly in the top 5. Humans have historically caused a great amount of suffering and death through wars, genocides, mass destruction, weapons, accidents, and environmental destruction. According to a recent estimate based on various studies and statistics, every single year more than 475,000 humans are killed by their fellow human beings. Now, there's no doubt that this number is alarmingly high, but it still doesn't make humans the most dangerous animals on Earth. Another animal that may come to your mind is our reptile friend, that's responsible for killing millions of people over the years because of this poisonous fang. Today, snakes contribute to around 100,000 deaths annually, but the number still isn't that high. Crocodiles are another reptile that is known for their killer instincts, but these terrifying creatures with an annual kill count of 1,000 are nowhere near humans or snakes. If we look into insects, tsetse fly is an organism that has historically caused a huge number of deaths. According to an estimate over the years, hundreds of thousands of deaths have been caused by this species, with notable epidemics in 1906, 1920, and between 70s and 90s. Today, this insect results in over 10,000 deaths each year, but that's not even close to the mosquitoes. Now, movies have made us believe that sharks are deadly, ferocious creatures that are always looking to kill humans whenever they come in contact with them, but surprisingly, they just cause approximately 10 deaths a year, which is even lesser than the lions or elephants that causes hundreds of deaths a year. So, how many deaths does the mosquito cause? Well, because of the whole spectrum of the disease caused by these tiny organisms, the actual data might be a bit hard to gather, but the most probable estimate is close to 725,000 deaths per annum. And this number shows an estimate, or just a regular year, it can go up to 1 million or so if any mosquito-related epidemic breaks down, thus making the small insect the deadliest animal of human history. What makes mosquitoes so dangerous? Now, the important thing to wonder here is that mosquitoes don't have size advantage, nor do they have any sharp nails, deadly teeth, or poisonous fangs. So what makes them so deadly? Environmental adaptations. Over the years, mosquitoes have adapted to diverse habitats, from tropical rainforests to urban environments. They tend to survive almost everywhere. They thrive in stagnant water for breeding, but they can also be found in modified habitats like containers, pots, irrigation ditches, and any normal water bodies. Now, most of the other animal species have been negatively affected by the climate change, but mosquitoes, on the other hand, have used this change to influence their distribution, potentially expanding their range into new areas, which could lead to increased disease transmission. Vast distribution. Now, a majority of the animal types are present in only certain parts of the world, like you'll only find tigers in parts of South Asia, lions are only found in Africa and India. Similarly, sharks only swim in certain parts of the oceans and aren't found in rivers or lakes, but mosquitoes, on the other hand, are found in almost 90% of the world, except Antarctica. They're present in every single continent, and their number increases drastically in highly populated areas, thus increasing their chances to infect and kill the humans. High population. There is no doubt that mosquitoes are present in a great amount on this planet. Now, because of their size and wide distribution, there's no exact data, but Weingart estimates that there could be around 110 trillion mosquitoes in the world, while on the other hand, some experts believe that the global mosquito population is in the quadrillions. In their peak breeding season, they are believed to be the second most populous species on Earth, just behind ants. Disease carriers. Another and probably the most important thing that makes them such an effective killer is their disease-carrying ability. As already discussed, mosquitoes, in order to breed and survive, have to suck on the blood of humans and other animals. When they do so, they carry all sorts of pathogens residing in the blood with them, thus transmitting any deadly disease from one human to another, or even from an animal to a human. Prey accessibility. Unlike lions that are found only in jungles or sharks that'll be hundreds of feet below the surface of water, mosquitoes are close to humans. They're in your homes, offices, streets, and literally everywhere. Moreover, with an extremely small size and an ability to fly, they have easy access to their prey or host, which again makes them such good killers. And that's super dangerous. Imagine there's a very deadly thing out there, a species that's literally anywhere. You can never be just safe. You can't just fly around, you can't be in a building, you can't be in a house, you can't be out or in. You're always in danger because of this one species. That is deadly, and that's what makes them so dangerous. The humble small mosquito that can be killed just by a clap of your hands stands as one of the most formidable and dangerous killers in the annals of human history. Its ability to transmit daily disease, which is very deadly, and move from continent to continent has resulted in billions and billions of fatalities. Well, a lot of people died because of it already, as we've already mentioned, and despite the advancement in technology, in science and medicine, it still continues to pose a significant public health threat. Unlike larger predators like lions, crocs, or even snakes that, capture our attention easily through immediate threat. You can see them coming from a mile away, especially lions or any predator that's huge. When it comes to mosquitoes, it's hard to track them down because they operate in a very intricate manner, and it results in the spreading of deadly diseases that have controlled the course of human history through centuries. And that's how they are the most dangerous, the most deadly, and the most unpredictable, because you could be having a great day, you could be living your life normally, you could be having a good time, and boom, you're bitten, and the next thing you know, You've caught some viral, you've caught some disease, and you don't even know what it is until you go to the doctor. You can't even wing it because mosquitoes are that unpredictable, unpredictably dangerous. That's why we have to apply everything we can to make sure we're safe from them.